Hi guys, and welcome to the final LC online session for this week. We've got one more coming up on Monday, and then it's the grand finale. We are finished, but we will be doing live sessions still throughout the next year. So please do keep checking back on the website for news and events about what we've got coming up. So today we're going to be talking about T-levels, which are a brand new qualification that are coming up. You can enroll onto the areas right now. They are all available on the website and on PS16 to apply for. So how many of you have been told you can't get employment because one, you've got no experience, or you can't even get a part-time job because of that? Well, that's the best thing about these T-levels. So majority of you will be looking at applying right now, especially when you're leaving school. But T-levels combine the perfect combination of doing industry placements alongside your qualification. So today what we're going to do is we're going to be able to speak with the T-levels team, including the curriculum that will be delivering those areas. So I'm going to introduce them now. Hi Gemma, hi Anya.
Hello there.
Hi Victoria, hi everyone.
Hello. So just introduce your roles and then I'll bring curriculum in to speak about theirs.
Okay, my name's Gemma Jackson. I'm the Employability Manager for Leicester College. So it's my role to oversee and help source really high quality and valuable industry placements as part of your T-level qualification.
And Anya?
Hi there, my name's Anya and I'm the T-level coordinator for Leicester College.
Fantastic. And today we are joined by Carl, who's in charge of computing, and we've got Neil, who's in charge of electrical. So can you introduce yourselves, guys?
Yeah, hi everybody, good afternoon. I'm Carl Ingalls. I'm the Programme Area Manager of Computing at Leicester College, and we will be sort of launching our Level 3 T-levels this coming academic year.
Hi everybody, I'm Neil McManus. I'm current T-level Programme Manager for construction, which includes electrical, carpentry and joinery, and plumbing and heating.
Fantastic. So you guys are going to be back later on to discuss all about different courses, but for now we're just going to focus on Anya, who's going to give us the overview of T-levels themselves.
Okay, so hi there. So T-levels are a brand new Level 3 qualification. They've only just started rolling out this year, so a few select providers over the UK have just started doing them. Leicester College will be starting from next September. So it's a Level 3 qualification which will follow on from your GCSEs. One T-level is equivalent to 3 A-levels. Select areas which are going to be rolled out over the next 4 years. And the big difference with the T-level is there's a substantial industry placement at the heart of the T-level. So it's combining classroom-based learning and then an industry placement, which is usually done in the second year, and that's 45 days. So that's a general overview of the T-level structure.
Okay, so following that, Anya, what areas will be offering straight away in September 2021?
Okay, so from September, we'll be doing all the areas that are available at that point, which will be construction, digital, health and science, and education and childcare. So they'll all be starting from September 2021.
And we'll be adding to that specification and the curriculum as the years go on.
Absolutely, yeah. So as each year goes on, we'll be offering most of the qualifications. Some of them are, there's a whole range of areas, and they'll be rolled out each year, and there'll be more added to each route.
That's wonderful. And I think obviously with a new qualification, a lot of parents, maybe even students, might be nervous about it. So can you just talk about the structure of a T-level?
Yeah, sure. Also to point out that although it is a new qualification, there has been absolutely years of research gone into it, and a collaboration between industry experts and the education systems and the government. So there's been a lot of research gone into it. So there's not really, although it's a new qualification, there's a lot gone into it. The structure will be a 2-year course, and it will be 80% really in the classroom, and then the 20% will be the industry placement, which can be taken either as a block or day release. That's something that we can work out with the employer. There's a basic core structure where you'll learn all the key theories across the whole route, and then you can choose from a specialism. So you can choose which the area that you want to go in, and you'll really fine tune your skills in that area and be qualified to go and work within that area when you leave.
Yeah, that's great. And obviously with T levels, they have a very similar name to A levels, and I think the fear is, will there be exams?
There will be exams, but there's a whole range of different exams. So it's not just like you have to do the whole 2 years and it's all based on one thing. It's going to be assessments along the way. So when you're on the industry placement, for example, there'll be a project which will be marked externally by the employers that you're with. There will also be more formal exams. So there'll be a range of different ways, and we'll help you all the way through. You'll get plenty of preparation in that first year as well, so that you'll be ready when that time comes. We'll give you a lot of help with that.
Okay, and obviously for those who are probably already interested but not sure how to apply, how do they go about doing that?
Well, all the courses are available to apply right now. They're on the Leicester College website. So if you just go to our Leicester College website, you can search for the T level there. But if your school has PS16, you can apply via that. So first of all, get your application in, and then we'll guide you through the next stages. Or you can just call us, and there's plenty of people to help you through that.
Wonderful. And following that, obviously on an application, they should apply if they can definitely do them. What are the entry requirements for T levels?
They will vary per qualification, but I would say as a general rule, you're looking at needing to get four GCSEs, including English and Maths. Really, the sciences would be a good option as well. We can again advise you every step of the way, and there's some different options. So if you don't quite meet the entry requirement, there's also an option to do a 1-year transition programme where we can bring you up to speed in any areas that you need some help with. So that's also something you can come and talk to us about. But we're looking at 4 GCSEs.
Oh, wonderful. And then obviously we're in a year of the time where people haven't done their GCSEs or even their A levels because of the current pandemic, and there is a unsurety of whether they'll be able to do their exams next year. So what happens if they don't get their maths or English?
Again, this is something, just come and talk to us. We've got plenty of careers advisors, and all the curriculum areas will help you through that. The transition programme I mentioned, that's designed to help you with that. We could do the English and Maths on that course, and it'll be very much concentrated on that. So just talk to us every step of the way, and we can guide you through it. I know this is obviously very, very uncertain times, and we're working with it's not usual times, so we can talk you through it when that time comes.
Wonderful, thank you. And just a note to everyone that is watching that the transition programs are being added to the website as and when we speak. They'll be available in the next couple of weeks. So we don't particularly have a deadline. So if you are interested in T levels, then you can apply as and when, but we do recommend you do it as soon as possible. So how do T levels differ to other technical and vocational qualifications?
Really, the really key difference is this industry placement that we've mentioned, and it's whereas before it's not been quite as a substantial placement in some of the other qualifications. This is really a really big part of it, and a lot of the training in the first year is geared up to preparing you for that industry placement, and it's been designed with the employers from the industry, so they're really trying to see what is current, what do these areas actually need, what skills do they need, and it's been designed with the skills gap in mind. There's been identified that there's a lot of areas where young people are leaving college with excellent qualifications, but they're not necessarily ready for that work environment. So this is really, it's designed to get you ready for the work environment, have the skills that you need, but also to give you the option to go on to a higher level apprenticeship or a degree as well. So it really gives you a lot of options as well as being able to go straight into a really good career.
Great. And I think following from that, Anya, as well, it's not just those who aren't work ready. I think it's a hard market to get into when you get your first job, because they expect you to have a lot of experience, and not necessarily everyone has been able to obtain Saturday jobs or that work experience along the way in their education as well. So this is a good like bridge between obviously your education and going into your first job, or maybe even passing on to university. So with that, I just wanted to wonder and ask if the BTECs in these areas are still running alongside the T levels.
They are, yes, they will be. There is the thinking that gradually in coming years they may start to phase out, but this is at the moment they will be running, and it's very important to make sure that you choose the right career. It might be that the BTEC's the right thing for you. It might be that something else, and we've got a really, really good team of careers advisors, and they will help you to make sure that you're on the right course. So they will be running alongside, not in every area, but they're still being part of our curriculum too.
Okay, and you've just briefly touched on earlier that these T levels are worth equivalent to 3 A levels. So in a sense, do they get UCAS points, and will universities accept this new qualification?
Absolutely, yes. At the top end of it, you can gain up to 168 UCAS points. That's equivalent to 3 A levels at the A star. So it's, you can get the high end sort of points for it. Universities will be accepting them as well. They're very well known about, and they've been talked about for many years now, although they're only just starting. We would advise, if you've got somewhere, you've really got your heart set on somewhere that you want to go to, speak to that university, because everywhere's got their own set of criteria. So it's always advisable to check. But yes, they're the same level as 3 A levels, and you'll get a certificate that breaks down everything that you've done as well. So, but very much so.
Thank you. And I think obviously it's worth pointing out as well that not everyone wants to go to university. We do degrees in construction, but they might not necessarily want to go into that. So what are their progression options?
So you could either look into doing a higher level apprenticeship. So that's a brilliant route as well. So the T levels align to the same standards as the apprenticeship. They're very closely linked. So they naturally would lead you to do a high level apprenticeship. So that's a really good option for a lot of people. So you're getting paid, you're continuing to study, and you're getting all that skill while you're studying. So that is a very strong option. And again, it's fully designed to make you work ready. So if you want to go straight into work, you've got the very firm grounding to go on into a career and then work through that career that way as well. So, but they're very much designed to get you the skills that you need to go into the area that you want to work in.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Anya. Appreciate that. Now, we don't have healthcare, science, or education childcare with us today. So after I've spoken and brought in Neil and Carl, Anya, could you just briefly touch on that later on in this live?
Yeah, sure.
Discussion. Thank you very much. So we're going to bring Anya back in a little bit later on, but now we're going to move over to Carl and Neil, who will talk about their areas of T levels they'll be offering. Hi, both. You okay?
Great, thanks.
Wonderful. So do you want to briefly just talk about your areas? We'll start with Neil and then we'll move on to Carl.
Hi, everybody. What a fantastic opportunity this T level creates for a young person entering into the construction industry. These courses have been designed in cooperation with the employers and industry specialisms. So within the construction area, we'll be offering the carpentry and joinery route, the BSc route in plumbing and heating, and the electrical installation route. And all three routes will be based over 2 years.
Wonderful. And yourself, Carl?
Yeah, pretty much echoing what Neil had said. It's a fantastic opportunity, and many years in the waiting for us to start delivering courses where there's a much more employer involvement, which is a great thing because at some point students will want to get a job. So yeah, we'll be launching the sort of 3 T levels in digital. Will be the digital production, design and development T level. So I guess if you're a young person, what does that mean? What will I be doing? Well, I've tried to sort of summarize it down to its sort of basic elements, you know, so if you like website design or you like programming and coding and you like problem solving, which all is applicable to all computing courses, perhaps the digital production design and development T level is for you. And the other two T levels that I'll be delivering will be the digital support one and the network cabling one. So, you know, if you want to get into the IT support industry, you like your sort of hardware, installing, configuring software, setting up Active Directory for, you know, a network, then that's the digital support is probably the T level you need to go select. And if you are really into computer networks, it's the network cabling one. We're going to be making them as practical as possible. So this is definitely very different to our sort of conventional level 3 courses, which are probably more academic, lots of sort of typing of assignments. I want to make this as practical and hands-on as possible. So to the extent of, you know, creating environments that are going to look something similar to the actual work environment that the student's going to potentially go into.
That's fantastic. And you know what's the most amazing thing out of both this? Your courses are very different to one another, yet both of them are very in demand for jobs right now. So if you've got people who are interested in coming into these industries, within 2 years' time, you'll be qualified to either go straight out and work in those industries with qualifications and with the experience of an industry placement, or you can progress to university. So your options are wide open for both of you. So I just want to open it up to the questions that we get regularly about T levels, and you can answer them specifically to your area. And one of them will be, what exams do I have to sit to pass the course?
Okay, so within construction, the first year we plan to deliver the core unit alongside the practical skills element of your specialism chosen route. So in the first year, there'll be 2 externally set exams covering the core unit, covering the depth and knowledge required on a construction site from the design level up into the completion of a building in handover, the roles and responsibilities of people. There'll also in the first year be an employer set project which will be worked on over a period of time. And then in year 2, when we sit the specialism unit, that'll be the carpentry and joinery, heating and plumbing, or the electrical installation. There's a practical and theory along with design exam that's spread over 24 to 30 hours long. And this will test all your skills and all your knowledge related to your chosen pathway.
Wonderful. And yourself, Carl?
Yeah, pretty much very similar to Neil. Obviously, they are going to be similar in terms of the assessments and external examinations. So yeah, as Neil pointed out, within the first year, year 1, there'll be an employer set project, which will be a project based over a 2-week period. And that'll be set around May time 2021. And 22. And then in year 2, there'll be, and those exams will be again kind of testing the core modules, because in year 1 we'll be covering a certain set of core modules. So it's a bit like an apprenticeship where, you know, you've got 5 modules. And although there aren't, we're trying to get away from assignment based where students are writing assignments, it's going to be more practical. They'll still be assessed at the end of the year. And then year 2, there's the project as well, which is, you know, mine's going to be about 61-hour project duration. And that'll be sort of around the same time, May, June time, for the year 2, which will be around 2023, I think. So, you know, lots of opportunities for formative assessment, practical hands-on, and then rather than sort of, you know, we'll obviously be assessing students' progress throughout the year, but and then they obviously are tested with the assignments. And built into that will be, you know, any additional maths and English. But another important part of the T level, it's not just about sort of knowledge content and learning about, you know, how to do a network or programming coding, but We're also looking at the employability skills, developing those employability soft skills for young people to be prepared and ready to go into that industry placement, because that's just as important, you know, that young people are employable, not just going in there with, you know, an understanding of the subject.
That's fantastic. Thank you, guys. And you've just briefly mentioned, Neil, and Carl, that you do core units and then you do a specialism in the second year. So if a student changes their mind in the first year about the specialism they want to do, can they do that? So when they get into their second year, they can do something that they didn't pick originally.
That's a good question.
Sorry, have I put you on the spot?
Yeah, you have. Because obviously the core's going to be different in construction to what it is in digital and health and social care. But in the core unit within construction, the BSE's core is the same across the plumbing and heating and the electrical installation routes. The difficulty being that the people undertaking the core in the first year would also spend a large amount of time developing the vocational skills related to that route. So although it could be possible, it wouldn't be advisable. I think the key thing here is to start looking at the industry you wish to go into, be it electrical, plumbing, carpentry and joinery, and looking at all the various different elements of that trade, whether it's an alarm engineer, security, electrical installation, a smart home designer, renewable energy, heritage carpentry and joinery building, new build, site work. There's lots of different routes within a chosen field, and I think it'd be really good to consider and start looking at where you'd like to be in that. There'll be a great opportunity. This is, we're working with employers, a lot more hands-on, researching as an individual, working in teams, working with employers to become more rounded in highly skilled person in those chosen routes.
Fantastic. And what about you, Carl? Is it the same sort of thing? Can you not switch from different specialisms?
Yeah, it's pretty, you know, all the three sort of digital T levels are quite, you know, the core modules, you know, on first glance, they look identical. So, you know, if you're doing the digital production design and development, you will still be talking about, you know, computer networks and virtualization, even though your specialism might be coding or programming or website development. But as Neil sort of pointed out, it's probably, although it could potentially, you could switch, you could go, right, I want to go down the sort of programming coding route and decide, no, actually fancy doing sort of network cabling. It could be possible to do that, but probably not advisable.
That's absolutely fine. Sorry, Neil.
If the student did want to change their mind, just like on our current courses, you know, we get people that come onto a level 3 course and go, no, I don't quite fancy that one, and can I go onto this other level 3 course? It would be possible as long as it's done quick enough, so within the first 6 weeks or something.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what, you know, all these courses will have a 6 weeks induction program attached to them, where students will get be monitored, be observed, be given lots of advice and guidance, and informed about the various routes. So that would be the time that a learner would choose to maybe change routes.
That's fantastic. Thank you, guys, for that advice. And like this, Neil said, through research, there's a fantastic website called UCAS Careers, and that's not just those who want to go to university. You can type in a career you're interested in or a field, and they will tell you exactly what experience, qualifications, industry placements you can go for, and the route of how to get through that. So I do really recommend you look on there, guys, and then you can make an idea about what specialism or course you want to do. And I just want to echo as well what Neil said about working with employers. At Leicester College, this is nothing new to us. We've been working with employers for decades. In fact, we have a long list of recognisable businesses we work with in Leicester and Leicestershire, but also nationally. So we have already have those established relationships with those, and they are on board to support us through these T-levels in terms of delivering placements, coming in to give talks or donating materials to us to support the studies. So I think you've touched base on this, Carl, but what is the written work to practical work balance like in these courses?
Well, I'm intending to plan that, there will be written work, but not in the sense of sort of, lots of assignments, but, formative assessment, which is something that, what formative assessment means is that, the tutor might set you a task and, will be assessing you as you go on through the course. Quite different from the sort of, what we've got currently where, you're issued an assignment and you have 3 weeks to complete it. It will be completely different to that. So, want to introduce as much of the practical element into the digital T-levels. I mean, one of the things I get a lot, from students when they come onto my course, they always sort of, no, not all of them, but some of them, expect a lot more practical. And computing is probably not as practical as it used to be back in the day. So, with lots of virtualization, is capable to be carried out using software. But certainly a great opportunity for the digital support and network cabling, to create an environment where they're going to get some physical hands-on. They will have to use, they'll have their own toolkit. They'll have to use tools and equipment that perhaps they are not doing now, on a typical BTEC course. So as much practical as possible, and so the work environment is not going to be alien to them when they go into it. So trying to really emulate that at college for the student.
Fantastic. And Neil, your course is already quite a practical course, but will there be some written element to it?
Yeah, it's what Cole's just said. There's going to be obviously hands-on, lots of hands-on, and at this level, we're hoping that it's research, investigation, working in teams, working as an individual, talking to employers, inviting employers in to give specialist training sessions within the course. So it's going to be a lot different to sitting there in just textbooks and writing.
That's fantastic. In fact, I've seen your electrical installation students, and I've been in the workshops and they've been referring back to their notes to help their learning whilst they're doing the practical stuff. So it just goes to show that they go hand in hand. And I want to finish off with one more question, because I am realised what the time is. But do they have to buy any tools or equipment, and what will it cost for these courses? I understand it's quite early days, so you might not know the exacts of what they need.
Okay. The answer is yes. And the reason for this is we like students to have their own boots, some work trousers, and a branded T-shirt so they look professional when they go out on an industrial placement. They'll need their own tools. Most skilled people have a set of tools. They don't carry 2 sets of tools. And if you want to learn and you want to develop and you want to be the best, you need your own toolkits. So there is a small toolkit we ask students to purchase to use on their industrial placement in that. There's a need, obviously, for the right stationery when they turn up, to study, to make notes, to do drawings. If you're going to do a drawing, that you can use to build up a portfolio to show to employers, or when you're on this industrial placement, you may be asked to carry out some project or research work, then, rulers, the right colour, pencils for drawing diagrams in that. So it is important. It's not overly expensive what we ask them to buy, but yes, they need their own toolkits.
And what about you, Carl?
Yeah, well, sort of in computing, a lot of our work can be done through software, and that's something that's provided through the college anyway. But certainly the digital support and the network cabling specifically, yeah, the students will have to buy, you know, they'll have to buy a toolkit. I mean, it will be part of the cost of the T level anyway. So when you enrol on a T level, you'll pay some course cost fees. But yeah, they would be expected to have a basic PC toolkit, network cabling crimper tool, the spare parts associated with it, and obviously we want to, you know, what we want them to own that, because then they take responsibility, and like you would in the workplace, if you turned up without your tools, you know, it just wouldn't be acceptable. So again, it's sort of installing that sort of those employability, you know, that employability mindsets in students very early on, so they don't feel they're just coming on to do an academic course. You know, that this is, you know, this is like, obviously, you know, I know I'm at college 4 days a week, but it feels like work as well in college.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And for those who are worried about the cost of what this equipment will be, we do have a learner support fund available at the college, which you'll be able to apply for once your place has been accepted at the college, and we recommend you do that. And that support is there for like free school meals, transport costs, and for cost towards equipment for your course. So thank you guys. I really do appreciate you joining. That's really, really informative. And just a quick throw out there to everyone watching that you can view these T levels now on PS16 and the website. They're all on there, and the transitional courses will be on there in the next upcoming weeks and slightly after Christmas. So I'm just going to bring Angie back now, and she's going to talk briefly about the healthcare science, is it, and education and childcare, and just talk about their specialisms, because they are also what we're offering from September 2021.
Okay, yeah, sure. So the route, how the T level works, is the route, which is we've just spoken about the digital, and we've just spoken about the construction route. So we've got the health and science route, and within that there's 3 T levels that you can choose from. So there's health, healthcare science, and science. And they all break down again into the occupational specialism. So whichever route you do, that's the kind of structure. You have your route and then a choice of T levels, and then you fine tune that into the occupational specialisms. And so for health and science, there's a whole range to choose from. And we've got midwifery, there's technical laboratory services, assisting in adult nursing, there's also mental health, and then another one which is the healthcare science assistant. So they're the specialisms within the health and science route overall. I imagine that at another time we'll get a more in-depth session on all the details, but the things that were talked about earlier on with Carl and Neil, the same sort of principles apply in terms of the exams and the overall structure. All the T levels have that kind of breakdown. So moving on to the education and childcare, the specialism under that route is early years education and childcare. So again, a very similar structure. With this one though, the industry placement, you will actually be doing a bit longer than the other routes, and that's to fall in line with the requirements of that industry for education and childcare. It needs to be longer, and we can talk you through all of that. So the kind of progression that you can be looking at in terms of careers, we've got you could go into nursery work, you could go into childminding, special education needs, teaching assistant. It could open up opportunities to go and work abroad. So there's a whole host of opportunities for you, and again we can talk you through that in fine detail as well. The other thing to say is that we're having a lot of the actual environment that you're going to be studying in. They're very purpose-built classrooms that replicate the real life work setting. So in the health and science route, we've got state-of-the-art laboratory conditions, brilliant equipment that you'd be using in the real life work setting. And again, with the education childcare, all the things that you're going to be using are what you will use in the real life setting. So you're already kind of on your career as you start these courses. It's already put you on that path. So
nothing will be a surprise to them.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the general overview.
Thank you so much, Anya. And with that, we have all the courses on the website, so please do feel free to visit those. And if you have any questions further about those healthcare science course or education childcare, or even the construction and the digital ones we've spoken about this evening, then you can comment below or email Leicester College at info@leicestercollege.ac.uk, and we'll make sure your questions get answered. So sorry, without further ado, I know we've run over a bit. I am going to introduce Gemma, who's our industry placement manager. So hi, Gemma, you okay?
Hey everyone, yeah, I'm good, thanks, Victoria.
Save the best for last, so.
Oh.
Okay, so should we just crack on with the questions that we've got? So,
Yes,
placements, what do they involve?
So the industry placements are 45 days in industry with an employer linked to your career aspirations and the specialist route that you're doing as part of your T-level. So the placement is really designed to give you an opportunity to develop your technical and your employability and those softer skills and be able to apply what you're learning in the workplace to bring it really to life for you. You're completely supported by a work placement coordinator during that process. So they will work with you and the employer whilst you're on placement to make sure that you're getting on well, to help review it, to look at how your skills are developing, and looking at the benefits for both you and the employer as well.
That's fantastic. And obviously you just mentioned about everyone having their workplace coordinator. Will the college help people find placements?
Yeah, absolutely. Our dedicated team of work placement coordinators are there specifically to help you find an employer. You might have an employer in mind, or you might know somebody within your own network that could help, and that's great. We can work with them to sort that out for you. Or equally, you might like us to help source you a placement, and we can do that.
That's fantastic. I think a lot of people, especially with apprenticeships, they go by word of mouth or a family friend who works for a business as well. So if you do know someone, you're already one step ahead. Yeah. And I think also people want to know if they can choose where they go.
Yeah, exactly. And what we try to really do as part of that T-level, particularly in the beginning, is really get to know you as an individual. So really look at what your skills and strengths are, and areas maybe that you might need to develop on, but looking at your longer term goals as well. What's your longer term aspiration? At the end of this T-level, you might want to go on to straight into employment, either as a paid job or into an apprenticeship, or you might want to go on to university as well. So where you go for that employment and for that industry placement is very much dependent on those types of things.
Fantastic. And how do, obviously these are students who may have never worked a day in their life before, so how will they prepare for a placement?
So as part of your industry placement process and part of the T-level qualification, you will receive around 35 hours of preparation. So that could take place over a blocked period or maybe certain days each week, and that will be really focused on helping you get ready for that placement. So things like CVs and job interviews are kind of run-of-the-mill and part of that package, but also maybe work tasters and meeting some employers, doing either some face-to-face workshops or virtual encounters, and they will coach you as well and really help prepare you and get you ready for that placement.
That's fantastic. And I think I just want to say to everyone, guys, that having that nervous feeling before you walk into a workplace, it still happens when, no matter if you're 30, 40 or even 50, you still get it. Nerves are a good thing to have, especially when you're starting something new. It means you're excited. So I think everyone who starts their industry placement will feel that way. And I think one of the questions we get is, will they get paid?
There's no expectation or requirement for the employer to pay you, but we've been running this the industry placement pilot for 3 years now, and during that we've seen quite a few employers who like to pay the students or reward them at the end of the placement. We can help you with travel costs if you need help with PPE, digital equipment. We can help you out with sort of lunch and things like that. So any kind of support that you need, we can work with you to try and make sure that you get that.
Fantastic. And that is all through the Learner Support Fund, right? Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, cool. And what are the benefits of doing an industry placement?
I think for students, the real benefits are getting some proper work experience, also related to what you want to do on your CV. I've been working in this sector for a long time now. I've been working with employers for many years. We work with about 1,000 employers a year for placements across the board in different types of opportunities. And so many of them say, we really need to see that students have got those softer skills when they come to us. You know, it's great you've got a but they will also be able to train you up to do lots of things. They want to see that you've got motivation, that you're committed, you can turn up on time, perhaps you're good at good problem solving, creative thinking, you know, interpersonal skills, you can get on well with other people. They are the most valuable skills any person can take into a workplace. So really doing the industry placement gives you a massive, I guess, kind of competition and a step ahead of your peers who maybe haven't got that. So, you know, that is a massive USP, unique selling point of this qualification that employers are really wanting you to be able to show when you go into the workplace.
Thank you, Gemma. And do you have any more words of advice before we wrap up today's session?
I think these qualifications, they're great because it's giving a young person an alternative to an apprenticeship, which maybe they're not quite ready for or they're not sure about. So this is a great way for young people to come and do a qualification which involves practical work, but you've got a balance and a combination of in the classroom and then that significant industry placement, which is 20% on the job as well. So if you're coming from, maybe you're a young person that isn't coming from mainstream education, you're coming from a different type of provision, or you've been homeschooled and you'd really like to do something practical, then this is a great opportunity alongside those that are perhaps, you know, coming through with those other qualifications and those different experiences to do something practical, but have different options to enable you to progress even further in the future as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, Gemma, and I really appreciate you joining us today. So, guys, with that, I want to reiterate that T-levels might be scary because they're a new qualification. You might be nervous, but this is nothing new to Leicester College. We have been working with employers for decades. We have a high list that we work with in all different areas, so we are prepared for that. And as Gemma just said, she's been running this pilot program for 3 years. So if you are interested in finding out more about Leicester College and the industry placements that we'll be offering, then you can click the link below or the one that's scrolling across the screen now to find out more information. So thank you so much for joining this evening, and come visit our website soon.